Welcome into the Michigan Football Report here on a Friday evening. We are presented by Aura All-in-One Digital Security. We partner with them to give you a free 14-day trial, and trust me, you're going to want to use it. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Want to get a video out here for you on a Friday because Jim Harbaugh, despite what the haters and the losers and the scribes and the pundits may have said, he's actually still alive and he's Michigan's football coach, despite the fact that I don't know if he's actually spoken to media or been seen in person, verified seen. And I think people, is that Harbaugh at the Tigers game? I don't think it's actually happened since the Orange Bowl, right? Has there been another media appearance? I can't remember, right? He strung along Michigan for 30 days and then apparently wanted to take the Vikings job and then just kept quiet for, I don't know, did they even do a press conference for National Signing Day? He was in Minnesota, and then, of course, nothing for spring practice. So we're going to tell you what Harbaugh has said. He's talking J.J. McCarthy. He's talking name, image, and likeness. We've got some people fired up and a few other things, including a blast from the past hire on its coaching staff. But it's June 3rd, folks. 3 days into the month. I want to thank all of you who helped us, get that 2,000 comments on the video a couple weeks back, a bunch of the 54 Commenter Club. But it is technically National YouTube Like a Video Month, right? And so what that means is, I guess this is the month now. You have it's also like Gay Pride Month in June, and February is like different. March is National Women's Month, all that different stuff. This is National Like a YouTube Video Month. So I think I want to celebrate with you guys. So if you want to celebrate with me, go ahead and like the video, and let's bring back, celebrate the liking of the video together, but also let's bring back what happened during the football season that worked so well. Don't jinx it. All right, you like the video. Michigan's going undefeated, guaranteed, but not by me, guaranteed by YouTube. So go ahead and like the video and put some good vibes out there into the universe for the Michigan football season, which is less than 100 days away now. And from last video on Tuesday, I asked you guys to see if we can beat our record for shares of a video in the last 6 months or so. We did it. We wanted to get I think 29 was our best shared on Facebook, share on YouTube, and asked you guys, can we get to 30? Got to 61. So really appreciate everyone who helped us achieve metrics, right? If you guys don't watch and help participate, our show can't grow, and we really probably can't get the studio time that we need to continue on with this ride that we've been on. All right, some shout-outs that are long overdue before I talk Jim Harbaugh. I left the people out when I gave the squad shout-outs and the 54 Commenter Club. So Bohannon 94, been watching since the beginning. He was part of the End of Video squad a few weeks ago, and he was one of the 54 Commenter Club. There's quite a few of you guys that commented 54 times on a video last week. Made me look good in our staff meeting last Thursday. Also, Josh Sherwood, been watching the show for a long time and has been following me on other social media. I always see him on Twitter, so thanks a lot, Josh. Trevoris Beckley, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of the squad. Michelangelo, sorry I forgot you in the squad. And thank you for being a really active commenter. I always see you in there. Cody Frazier, appreciate you being part of the squad. Andre Blakey, thank you as well. And then Lewis Huff. So don't mean to slight you guys. There's a lot of people who commented, and both on the squad one and the 54 comments. So, a few people got left over. I fired 2 interns for it, but nevertheless, we're giving you your attribution and your shout-outs as of right now. It's a blast from the past, though. Fred Jackson. You might be like, Fred Jackson? I know that name, right? He was a Michigan football coach forever. He's kind of a dying breed of coaches from the perspective of he was a position coach. He was offensive coordinator, if you didn't know that, back in the 90s for a couple of years. Then he was like Lloyd Carr's right-hand man as associate head coach, and then was just like running backs coach for 14 seasons or something like that after that. From Moeller to Lloyd Carr to Rich Rod to Brady Hoke, Fred Jackson was a part of this program. So we're going to talk a little bit more about his return in a second, but let's welcome him back. Was told that his son is a viewer of the show, and so I don't know if Fred does yet, but his son, a viewer of the show. So let's welcome back Fred Jackson. I don't know if you call him a Michigan legend or not, but he was around. I mean, if you were to hire somebody to write a book about Michigan football from 1992 to 2014, 4 coaches and everything that went in between, I think Fred Jackson would about have as many intriguing stories as you can possibly imagine. So go ahead, type Fred down in the comments. So a little bit more on the former Michigan football coach. He, as I mentioned, was in a few stops in the 80s and 90s. Gary Moeller hired him on. Lloyd Carr. Lloyd made him his first offensive coordinator. Crazy enough, they were coaches on the assistant staff together, and then things weren't going that well on offense. So he took a step back, was associate head coach, running backs coach, but 23 seasons. Rich Rod kept him on for 3 years as running backs coach. Brady Hoke, and I never actually really got the story on what happened after the 14 season, where Hoke decided after a 11-win year to not have Fred Jackson be part of the program, whether it was chose to retire or whatever, but he hasn't been in coaching. He did a couple seasons as a high school coach in the state of Michigan, and from what I can tell, he's just been hanging around for the past 5-6 seasons. So he's back in coaching. It's a face that knows winning at Michigan. He's produced a ton of running backs. Mike Hart, Tyrone Wheatley, Chris Perry were all under him as in the running backs game. So welcome back to Michigan to Fred Jackson. How about Soup Campbell? Remember him, the old wide receivers coach for about 20 years or so? Maybe he can come back in a similar role, but welcome back to Fred Jackson. All right, Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan coaching staff were at the Ferris State mega camp over the yesterday and Thursday. Tons of high school kids there, tons of big time recruits, but in a lot of ways it's more of a thing for 10, 15 guys from the same school all to camp together for a day or two, get to meet a different college football coaches. Not necessarily an event where there's tons of huge prospects there by any means. So Jim Harbaugh talked about name, image, and likeness. And a few Michigan fans, quite a few Michigan fans, and certainly Ohio State fans, Alabama fans, etc., they took exception. They thought Harbaugh kind of looked like a buffoon, wasn't talking like it was 2022 around college football. So before I talk more about it, I want to mention one thing. You saw on the screen there, I didn't get to say it beforehand, but have we forgotten Jim Harbaugh has won the Big Ten championship, won the Big Ten title game every single season, just one season, that a name, image, likeness has existed. Ohio State certainly can't say that. If anything, you'd say name, image, likeness has hurt the Ohio State program based on their performance last year. Hold on a second. Getting an iPhone alert. I've been hacked. My bank account's been hacked. Stop the video. But I'm good now. I'm actually good because of today's presenting sponsor, Aura Digital Security. I've been using it for about a month now, folks, and it is a game changer. We've got a 14-day trial partnering with Aura, so go to aura.com/chatsports. It is your do-everything online monitoring tool. When it comes to fraud, seconds matter. If someone's accessing your credit cards, your bank accounts, taking money from you, hell, going after your email passwords, whatever it is, Aura monitors the web, your email passwords, your financial accounts. When it comes to fraud, they're all over it. They're going to spot shady transactions, and with Aura, you get a VPN, so you can mask where you're at, where you're logging in, your IP address, and you can use their antivirus software included in your 14-day trial, and then your membership after that. Plus, you get free credit monitoring and credit scores and credit reports through Aura. So go get going. Use our 14-day trial, aura.com/chatsports. I think once you get it, you will continue it. You'll probably sign up for an account. It's very affordable, so check them out. The time it takes you to watch this show is about the same amount of time it takes you to set up your account with Aura, aura.com/chatsports. I recommend it. And if you want to watch the show, at least do the 14-day trial. If it's not for you, then cancel. But 14-day trial certainly helps us out with making the advertisers happy, and I think you will be happy as well. Jim Harbaugh, name, image, and likeness. Let's take a look at this quote that he said, and this is really the one that people were talking about. He said it before. This isn't the first time you use, honestly, this exact same quote. He used it a few months ago as well. Our philosophy is that coming to the University of Michigan is going to be a transformational, in your life. You're going to be a football player, you're an athlete, a young man to a grown man, a student athlete, rather than a transactional experience, right? So if you want me to break that down in layman's terms, he wants it to say, hey, I came to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh did, as an 18-year-old, and it changed my life, right? It helped me become an All-American. It helped me become an NFL football player, and then a coach. And I eventually came back here, and we want that for you. We want being part of this program to help you be better men, better parents, better professionals. Not one where the only reason you're here is because we offered you more money than the next school. And I'm actually not, I don't hate this quote, but my guy Stephen Mers, he's at Instagram at mymanmers, out of Chicago, big time Michigan fan. He hit me up in the DMs on Instagram yesterday and sent me the quote, and he's like, hey, James, how do you feel about this quote? And he's like, put it on the show. Let Michigan fans weigh in on this topic too. How are they feeling? The same way as him. He didn't like it. He said he thought that Michigan, this is amongst a few DMs there that we had together, that Michigan is falling behind with name, image, and likeness. And this sounded like a quote someone would say who's got their head in the sand, right? It's like that quote from 20 years ago or something like that. The internet, Paul Krugman, that's right, like the philosopher or whatever, economist. The internet doesn't really have any reasonable application in modern business, right? In like 1999, 2000. That's what, Mers says this sounded like from Jim Harbaugh. And I don't know if I agree with Mers or with Harbaugh. I do think that name, image, and likeness over the 11 months it's actually been a real thing. It has a potential to ruin college football, right? Ryan Day said yesterday he needs $13 million a year just to keep the guys on the roster that they've got, let alone, continue to recruit five-star quarterbacks and wide receivers every single year. I think name, image, likeness can ruin college football unless something happens, right? I think that Michigan, it will play the game, but I don't think they're going to cheat. If it's like it is now where, hey, you can go get your own thing, and some schools play by the rules, but some don't, and they have boosters who just basically say, hey, you come to our school, no matter what, you're getting $100,000, and it's not really NIL. I think it could ruin college football, and that's why, folks, name, image, likeness ruin college football. We need some law. We need some order. College football needs a commissioner, one person who could set guidelines that apply to all schools and all conferences and make sure that if someone does it, by the rules, cool, we're all good. If you're doing it like, Texas A&M was accused of doing, then this commissioner can have, unilateral, what's the term? Unilateral decision-making to say, hey, Texas A&M, it's clear as day you paid these guys. I talked to his dad. He said he got $200,000 straight cash, homie. You got to forfeit a game, whatever it is. That player can't play for you this year. But Day also said that he thinks that there are players on his roster, if they received a cash offer right now, they'd transfer. Starters right now would transfer to other school just for the money. And I don't want Michigan to become that. And if that's what NIL becomes, I think it's going to ruin college football. So I hope they get it under wraps a little bit. But I want to ask you guys this question before we move on with today's show. Who should be college football's commissioner? I've had plenty of people reach out and say, James, you seem like the most reasonable decision maker. You're always so thoughtful in your shows, and you're one of the smartest guys I've ever seen on Twitter. I don't know if any of that's true, but if you believe that, maybe you say me. I think I've got a good job here, so I would decline the job. But let me know who your college football commissioner should be. How about Kirk Herbstreit, right? He seems like the most reasonable guy out there. I know he's an Ohio State guy, but he's shown to be level-headed and I think would make the right decisions, although, he probably would do something scandalous and cheat like an Ohio State grad normally would. Now, Jim Harbaugh talked a little quarterbacks, right? And he had a ton of quotes on here, but I tried to just cherry pick the best one or two that a few sentences that I thought were most relevant to this discussion. So here's what Harbaugh had to say in his little media scrum up at Ferris State. And it wasn't really a press conference as much as some reporters cornered him and videotaped it on their iPhone. He's like, what's the deal? Is it going to be Cade? Is it going to be JJ? He's basically said nothing, but he said everything, right? It could be one guy full-time. Could be two guys. Could be one guy playing some guy, other guy coming back here. So I think what he's basically saying is I don't want either guy to transfer before the season starts, and I'm not going to say anything that gives either Cade McNamara or J.J. McCarthy the thought that I'm favoring one or the other. He wants both of them on the roster entering fall camp, which means, barring some crazy circumstance, that they both will be on the roster the entire season. I have stuck to my guns that said I thought McNamara deserved the job, right? And I'll still kind of think that until proven otherwise by J.J. McCarthy. You saw those stats. He's not even thrown 60 passes in his career. We've seen the arm strength. We've seen that Aaron Rodgers style beautiful ball he's thrown downfield, but it hasn't been usually when it mattered. Maybe the Michigan State pass to Andrel Anthony, but a lot of chatter, folks, coming out of spring ball when he wasn't there. But this last 6 or 7 weeks, there has been a lot of chatter from people who know, from people who talk to coaching staff and, talk to players. What does it look like? Who's the better player? I think it's J.J. McCarthy is probably the more, obviously talented player. But who is the team kind of rallying around? Donovan Edwards, Andrel Anthony, hell, even Ronnie Bell in some ways. And I think that's going more towards J.J. McCarthy at this point, but I still think that Cade McNamara, in my opinion, gets the nod in that first game of the season. So I'm going to be interested to see, right? Michigan hasn't had a quarterback battle this intriguing probably since the 1999 season, Drew Henson and Tom Brady. But I want to ask you guys this question as we get ready to wrap up the show. Stick with us. I got one more ask for you. But I want to ask you guys this question. Know a little more about the audience, let you know a little bit more about me. What age were you when you went to your first game at Michigan Stadium? If you've never been, let us know that in the comments, too. And let's see how we can get you to a game this year. Maybe I'll come and shotgun a beer with you like the guy said in the Facebook comments last week. What age were you? I was 5 or 6. I was going to text my dad today and ask him, but it was like the season in the late 80s. I went to a game, and then the next year I went to the Michigan-Ohio State game. So I think it was an odd year. So I was 5, 6 years old. Whatever it was, went young. I actually took my son to a game when he had yet to even turn 1 year old. But it was at Michigan Stadium. That was at AT&T in Dallas, Michigan, Florida in 2017. And then he went to the 2019 Michigan Air Force Army game when he was about a month shy of his 3rd birthday. It is National Like a YouTube Video Month, and if you have not participated, you are missing out because you won't believe you click that like button, right? Sometimes you click on Twitter, you click the like button, and they mix it up, right? It explodes with like hearts, or maybe it's on 4th of July, the USA flag goes. You won't believe what happens when you click that like button on YouTube. It's going to blow your mind, so go ahead and do it. We're back on Sunday with another Michigan Football Report video. Until then, go Blue.